Hi, I'm Josh with Real Property Management Express. In this video, I want to talk to you about the resources available to you if you've lost your job recently. Well, the bad news. Last week, we heard that 3.3 million people filed for unemployment. And then this week, so this came out just yesterday in the Wall Street Journal, over 6.6 million people filed for unemployment. So that is just massive, massive. And they kind of look like it's going to get worse as long as we just stay inside and don't do business with each other. In South Dakota, the jobless claims were about 1,700 last week and about 6,600 this current week. However, there is a silver lining if job loss can be called a silver lining. And let me show you what that is. South Dakota had the lowest job loss in the nation. So if you look over here at the states with the highest job loss, Hawaii is showing that 7% of their workforce has gone unemployed. Whereas, Wyoming and in South Dakota down here in 50th place, which is pretty awesome. If you can count job loss, awesome, but that is the silver lining in all of this. And I guess that's one of the benefits of not having a whole lot of tourism in our state. Obviously, there's a lot of real people that number represents, and for those folks, it's no fun. So if I've lost my job, how do I pay rent? How do I keep a roof over my head? So let's look at it. A couple things. One, the average Sioux Falls rent is about $836 per month. The One Sioux Falls Fund is paying up to about 70% of that rent. And then the state unemployment max is around $1,400 a month. Now, every person's situation is going to be different, but that's the max depending on how much you were paid before, how long you worked there. There's a bunch of different factors, but that's the max. And then in the CARES Act, there's some additional provisions for unemployment. So the one big one, there's several big ones, but this one's really big, is that the self-employed or gig workers who normally don't get unemployment coverage are covered. And the reason for that, of course, why people aren't covered as self-employed is because they don't pay traditionally unemployment taxes. And so they're not covered. But the CARES Act has said, nope, we're going to cover you if you're self-employed, or a gig worker would be like an Uber driver. So those folks will be covered. Also, through July 31st, so that's for 4 months or 120 days, there's going to be an additional $2,400 a month on top of the state unemployment taxes, the state unemployment insurance payments. And then we have the one-time payment of $1,200 per adult and $500 per child. That really doesn't have anything to do with unemployment. You get that whether you're employed or not employed. And then there's the student loan payments that are basically put in deferment or forbearance for 6 months. So there's a lot of resources that are coming our way here this month. So let's look at a real-life example. Now, again, everybody's situation is different. Don't quote me on this. Don't say, Josh told me I could get X. It's not true. But I also want to show you just kind of what real numbers would look like. So if we just took average rents, and your rents, of course, are different, but if you've lost your job and you have average rents in Sioux Falls, and you got 70% of that covered, you'd get about $585 towards your rent. Then if you got max South Dakota unemployment, that's $1,408. And then if you got the CARES Act, which you would probably, that'd be $2,400. And then if you had one adult and one child living in your household, you get $1,200 for the adult and $500 for the child, which results in about $6,100 in April total for that unemployed adult and child. And then on top of that, if you have student loans, those loans would be put in forbearance also for 6 months. So that's pretty significant. Obviously in May, that number would decrease somewhat, but still pretty significant. So just a quick on the CARES Act one-time payment, because I just want to cover a few things. That's that $1,200 per adult, $500 per child. This chart came, I believe, I got this out off of NPR. It does phase out after $75,000. So once you make $75,000 as a single person, you won't get all of that $1,200, and after $100,000, you'll get nothing. Same thing if you're a couple filing jointly, you can kind of see you double the 75, you get 150, and you double the 99, you get 198K or 200,000 essentially, and it phases out, and those high income earners will be phased out. You don't need an application to receive the CARES Act one-time payment. If you filed your taxes and you had a bank account direct deposit on those taxes, it sounds like the IRS is just going to put the money right into your bank account. Now, there is word that if you have to change your bank account, the IRS is going to build a portal to make that change. But be very, very careful, because this is a scammer's dream to have people entering their bank accounts online. So be very careful, know what you're doing, pay attention, be safe. And to apply for unemployment benefits, you have the website and the phone number there. Just keep in mind, though, that these poor folks also are highly overwhelmed at the moment. So be patient with them. I want to give you a quick update on the Sioux Falls Fund as we know it. These stats are about 2 days old, so I'm sure this has changed since then. But right now, there's been over $3 million donated from the city, county, and private donors to the fund. They've had about 1,700 applications. 398 applicants have been approved. They've mailed out $233,000 in checks. We just received the first checks from the Sioux Falls Fund today. So probably about 14 of our residents have been helped by this fund. So we're very grateful to Sioux Falls and the donors of that fund, and so are the residents. So thank you very much for that. And then those checks are sent directly to the landlords. And just keep in mind that it's only for tenants, not homeowners, but tenants who have lost jobs. So this would not work for people who were behind on rent before this happened, or if you're still employed, you would not qualify. All right, so of course, anything we can do to help you, let us know. You got our phone number, our email. You can set up an appointment. We'll do video chat, whatever we can to help you. Just talk to us, let us know, and we're here to get us all through this time. Hey, be safe, stay healthy, have a great weekend.